I'm going to hit mute.
Okay. So, but you can come back on, Erica, anytime and ask any questions because I'm going to do some screen sharing. But I want to talk about the emotional cycle because when you work for yourself, one of the things that you have to realize, and you probably already realized this with your daycare, your emotions are magnified. When you work for somebody else, there's kind of like you can just disclaim some of those emotions, because it's somebody else's responsibility. But when it's your responsibility, all of a sudden emotions go all over the place. And I think we talked about this at your new consultant training even, that emotions are on a sine curve. So if you have a sine curve means if you have a straight line, your emotions go up, roll up and down over that line. And the higher you go, the further you have to fall. That's just the way emotions go. So, some people who just like roll evenly above and below the line and they're not really highly emotional and really they don't go to low lows. I happen to be a high emotional person and a low. Now, the one thing that you can control is how long you stay up or how long you stay down. So that I want to show this, just a sec, let me do a screen share. I want to show the emotional cycle. Okay, get rid of this. So what happens with the emotional cycle is you start at the top, and I don't know if you can see my pointer, but you start at the top, and then, and as a new beauty consultant, you really feel that. And the first time you attend a meeting, you kind of get this really kind of buzz, excitement, positive attitude, I can do anything. And then what happens is you start moving around this emotional cycle and you get to frustration. And that's when you start, you maybe deal with some cancellations, some obstacles, or if you have some friends that aren't real supportive, then you start sliding down that whole emotional cycle. When you get down towards the bottom, what happens is you kind of fall into a shock. And you think you thought it was going to be easy, and in shock is where you usually feel like you want to quit. Okay, so like, what did I do? Like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I thought this would be easier. All that kind of, all those things start happening. When you hit the bottom, this particular chart doesn't talk about, I guess but it still doesn't talk about the one that I want to talk about. You get down into denial. And when you get into denial, you start withdrawing. And this is, a lot of people will not reach up when they get to that bottom, and then they'll sit there, which is not like you. But a lot of times people will start withdrawing, they procrastinate, they avoid people, they might start avoiding me, they start avoiding meetings, and so they sit down there, and that's when fear sets in. Now, when fear sets in, and if fear takes over, and this whole emotional cycle, this is what is dealing to business, but this happens personally too. When you get into denial and fear, if you don't start moving back up, you fall into depression.
Yep.
And that's where people can stay. After you hit fear, what happens is your feelings start increasing again, and you start getting angry. First thing you start is getting angry at other people, but then you move into anger yourself. And then what happens is you can move back up to stage 1, and you can start looking at and setting goals, move into realistic goals, and move back up to the top and be back up to the top of that feeling cycle. Now, one of the things that I feel is so strong is when you start sliding down and you start feeling frustration and shock. As a new consultant, if you can reach out to me at that point, because I'm going to tell you, every new consultant goes through this feeling cycle. And they can go through this with moments after they sign their agreement. They can do it weeks after, but you're going to go through this. And through your whole career, you're actually going to go through this a lot. It's just how fast you go through this. Now, sometimes I can go through this in like a 30 seconds. I've gone completely through the feeling cycle. And that's what you want to get to the point that you can do that. Because when you go through the feeling cycle, that's what will bring you back up above the line so you can hold up there. Because you want to stay to the top as much as you can, even though sometimes you're going to slide around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can call me through when you start feeling and sliding into frustration and shock, you can sometimes get back up there a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's really only two reasons why I ever see consultants quit. They either have not managed their feelings or they have not managed their money. And I can do that from personal experience, because anytime I felt like quitting, it's because I haven't managed my emotions or I haven't managed my money. I've done both. Mismanaged my feelings and mismanaged my money. And so there's not a whole lot that I haven't gone through. And that's why I can usually help you through some of the things. Okay. So this is the whole feeling part of it. I want to go through the money part of it. And I actually pulled a different form, Erica, than the one you were using, because I wanted to see what you thought of this form, if you felt this one was a little bit more self-explanatory. So I'm going to pull up, I want to get rid of, sorry, I have to get rid of some notifications because they're blocking all my controls. Okay. Now, did a new form come up?
Yes. Money matters.
Okay. I'm going to go to income producing activities first. This, I think, is so important because when we're in business for ourselves, we can get sidetracked on the little things instead of moving into management things. And management things, number one management of ourself is to manage our activity. And when we're in business for ourselves, now with daycare, this doesn't happen because you have people coming in.
Right.
But with your, with a Mary Kay business, there's a lot of little things that we can get sidetracked at, you know, preparing this or doing doing things at our desk instead of actually doing income producing activities. So I think it's a good idea to know what are income producing activities versus what aren't. So this is a great form, and I will put this up on the Finest. So you can get this if you want. But of course, number one income producing activity is the skincare class, a beauty experience, any type of that. That is number one, because that is where you see the most people and you make the most money for the time spent. So immediate cash. Another incoming activity is facials or on-the-go appointments. So that is on-the-go appointments is when you deliver something face-to-face and taking in a basket, upselling, showing them some other things. One of the things that I love to do is I like to have a basket full of whatever the new things. So I would have the body care in there now and the brush set. And when I walk in, I actually have their product in a pretty bag with a bow, and you know, I usually do curly ribbon or whatever in the basket. And when I walk in, I immediately hand them the basket right when I get there, and they carry the basket. Well, right away they're digging through that. Sometimes I'll have in the basket if I have some products I need to move through that maybe I didn't make a smart buying choice, or maybe I got overstocked on and I'm doing buy two, get one free. I might have my basket filled with those, and I'll say, oh, here's my sale basket, buy two, get one free. But anyway, usually I hand them the basket. So they take ownership of it, and that's how you upsell without they're not even knowing you're upselling. The next income producing activity is when you get new bookings. The next income is $100 in retail sales and customer service. A marketing, they say tape. We don't even have tapes anymore. Can you tell? You know, so sending out a marketing video. The next one is a team building interview or questionnaire completed, a guest to a unit meeting, getting 7 names and numbers. So that's getting referrals on the back of your profile card. And then, of course, a new team member. Those are all income producing activities. Now, how you track that is if you move below, you can kind of decide your activity level, and then you'll know exactly how many income producing activities that you need to do to hit that. So this is in a week's time. If you just want to be a part-time beauty consultant, if you do at least 5 income producing activities within a week, you're going to keep your business just rolling. Okay. If you want to say, okay, I want to move to replacing my income. So I want to start increasing my activity because I want to start matching my income. Then you're looking at moving to 10 IPAs, income producing activities. And then when you make the choice that, oh, I want to step up into a leadership position, become a sales director, or win a car, then you want to be pacing 15 income producing activities. And so then you can just put your letter or whatever you've done in each one of those boxes. And then it's easy for you to, it's an easy way for you to feel like, okay, I've accomplished something. A lot of times when you work for yourself, we don't ever feel like we accomplish anything, and we are accomplishing, but you don't see that on paper, and this helps you see it on paper. Okay, so tell me how you feel about this, Erica. This whole does this kind of give you substantial something to look at and think about?
Yes, and it's more easier read than the other one.
Okay, so this one, yes, so this one is on activity, and then I'm going to show you the tracking register. This is the different tracking register. So you tell me if this one seems to be a little bit, oh, you know what? No, we're going to go back to money management first, and then we're going to come to this because I think it'll make more sense.
Okay.
This diagram will talk a little bit about how do you manage inventory, how do you manage your money, and cost of goods, and how this whole rotation should work, okay? So now I have a perfect scenario written down here. A perfect scenario of somebody starting with a full store, a 3,600. And then we'll talk about when you don't have a full store and you're increasing your store. But let's say that you have a perfect scenario and you have $3,600 inventory. Now I'm also going to tell you that once you start, like if you start replacing your income and you start, and you've got 100 clients or 150 clients, this might not even be enough inventory for you. I'm trying to think how many clients I have. I probably have about 200, 225 clients, and I run off about a $7,000 inventory. Now, of course, I've increased it to that. I didn't start like that. Okay. But let's say, this is a full inventory for a new consultant. So you go out and you hold your first class, which brings us to taking $150. I'm going to assume a $300 party. Taking $150 of physical product off your inventory, out of your inventory stash. You're going to turn it into cash and deposit that into your money account. Okay? But you need to take your cost of goods plus tax out of that. Now, the reason why I work at 60/40 is because your cost of goods, you're going to have some supplies. And you're not always going to use all this money, but it's going to leave some money in your cost of goods account for maybe going to career conference or seminar or added expenses. Or if you want to increase your inventory right before Christmas, you'll have a little extra in your cost of goods account. So if you take 60% out, plus tax, you're going to move that over into your cost of goods account. Now, some people can do this on paper. Some people have to physically remove that out of your account and put it into another. I happen to be one that I had to physically remove that out of my account because when I was a new consultant, I went, ooh, $300. And I spent $300. Well, what happens is this inventory column goes down, and you spend your money and your cost of goods doesn't, so you can't replace it into your inventory.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty soon you bankrupt yourself.
Yep.
So, okay, so what this does, when you take this out and move this 180 plus tax over into your cost of goods account, that sits there, that leaves you $120 to spend any way you want. Now, if you were like me and I had to borrow the money to get the inventory, so I had to pay back my cost of goods. I played this game. My inventory payment was $111.18. I still remember that. So $111.18 I had to take out of this first, that was the game I played. Out of the first party, I had to make enough to put that away to pay my loan payment at the end of the month. And then I knew all the other profit could be mine to spend any way that I wanted. So you can see, you can control your income by how many parties you hold, whether this is per week or per month. If you're doing these 4 parties in a month, or if you're doing 4 parties in a week, you're going to control your income. So you go to your second one and party and you do the same thing. You move your 180 plus tax over here, leave your 120 in your account. The third one, the fourth one. When you get to the bottom, after 4 parties, you have $720 over here that is very easily in your cost of goods. You can very easily place a $600 order, get the bonus, get a larger bonus to help cover that 10%. Mm-hmm. And you cycle that back in. So you place your order, it gets back into your inventory while you're doing this again. So you consistently keep that inventory level high, and always rotating that product in and out. Okay. Yep. Now, also in this money account, you're going to deposit any commissions that you make. Now, you want to, once you start recruiting, you want to go online and register and have that dropped into your account. Otherwise, they're going to put it on your ProPay credit card, and they're going to send you a ProPay credit card, and your commissions will be on that debit card. So you can choose either to get your commissions that way or to have it dropped into your account. And you need to go on In Touch and do that under your profile. Right. Okay. So that you deposit, so let's say that your commissions were $435. You're going to deposit that total amount in there. Of course, there isn't any cost of goods in that. That's total profit. So that means your income was $915. You have $915 here to spend out of your account any way that you want to. This is your profit. Okay? And you don't ever have to worry about bankrupting yourself because you've already removed your cost of goods. Okay, does this make sense? Yes. Okay, so now I'm going to go to that tracking register. So if you want to keep a register of this so you kind of see your Section 1 orders, everything. So if you're a visual person, what you're going to do is you're going to date it. You're going to put the description of the sales. So let's say that you did a beauty experience and your sales were $300. We're going to use that. Your tax would have been $21. If you gave some hostess credit, you're going to put that discount in there. So what that discount costs, so what that cost you. So let's say you gave her, she got $75 for $35. So that would mean, what is that? That would be $35, right, that you gave away. So $17.50. So you'd put the $17.50 in there. Following that? Yep. And then you would put your total deposited into your account, and then your section, when you place an order, you'd put your Section 1, and then you'd figure your Section 2 and your profit. So you wouldn't have something here every time you make an entry. Okay? Okay. So now the thing about this is, Erica, really all you have to worry about is, I'm going to go back to this money management. All you really have to worry about is keeping track of your expenses. This is you need to have an account for your business separate from your personal. So if you ever have any expenses, let's say you go to get washcloths or cotton balls, or you get something to merchandise your products, or you get some sacks, or you get whatever, you're going to subtract that out of this account so you keep track of it. So really at the end of the year, the only thing you need to have is you need to have your starting inventory, your ending inventory, and you need to have a list of all your expenses, anything that you could possibly think you could deduct, your postage, all those types of things. And I'm going to show a sheet that will list some of those things. And your money in. And your money in this money in account, should equal your receipts plus your commission statements. So if those two meet, your books have balanced.
Okay.
Okay. Now, oh, go away. Okay. I want to go to this sheet. I'm going to post this one too. I am really not as worried about you tracking in a register like this one or the one that you are using. I'm really more concerned that you track your expenses and your money in. Okay. So I personally like this sheet because this lists all your expenses. If you get two envelopes, a money in envelope and a money out envelope, and you put a copy of all your receipts in your money in, you put your commission statements in there, and on the outside, every time you make a deposit, you write down on the outside of that envelope and your commission statement. Each envelope, if you had 12 envelopes, if you add up all your envelopes, those should match your money in account. And then if you have an envelope that you put every receipt that you ever spend money on, or if you just do a debit out of your account, write that on the outside of that envelope and track it. So on the outside of the money out envelope, you've listed everything. Then you can just go to this and you can compile it. So you can put in your Section 1 orders. You can put in your total hostess amount that you've given away. You can put in your cell phone expenses. And you can even do this monthly, or you can do this, and then you can try to start budgeting where your expenses. This lists everything that you can deduct, and then even some other things that you can list. So this, to me, keeps you a little bit more on point with your money in and your money out. Does this maybe make more sense?
Yeah, because I was looking at the registered business one and I was like, what?
You know, to me, it's complicated. And honestly, I mean, I know myself, I'm not a bookkeeper, nor are figures obviously, since I bankrupted myself, obviously figures are not my thing. So I have learned, if I can keep myself where I keep balanced my money in and my money out, and I fill out one of these types of things. I do this once a quarter. I don't even do this monthly.
Okay.
At the end of the quarter, I sit down and I figure, I take all my money, my receipts from my money out and my receipts from my money in, and I figure this out. So then at the end of the year, I have 4 of these, and you can very easily do a Schedule C on your taxes.
Okay.
Okay. So if you keep track of it this way, it's much easier. So I'm going to go back to this once again. This is the most important concept that you want to get down. Now, let's say that you don't start with a full inventory. What happens is you're putting your cost of goods away, but you're trying to build this. So sometimes you're going to take this whole figure, this 300 plus tax, and you're going to rotate it. So you're going to rotate from column 1 to column 2, column 1 to column 2, back and forth until your column 1 increases till the point you get that inventory where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then the point that I want to make here, it's not that sometimes consultants who are building an inventory feel like they're not making money. It's not like you're not making money. It's just you're depositing that $120 worth of profit back over into inventory instead of spending it.
Right.
Okay. So this is the most important concept I feel we need to get down. And just to know, keep track of everything you can possibly deduct, because you can always weed things out. So let's say, once in a while, take a grocery store receipt and circle flour or eggs or things like that. You can't do it every time, but once in a while take it and circle that and put it in your money out, because you know what? You might entertain people. When you did your grand opening, you baked.
I did.
Okay. So you pulled that out of your personal stash, your food stash. And so every once in a while, go ahead and take a receipt and circle toilet paper and cleaning materials and things like that, because that is part of running your business.
Okay.
And so you can't do it every time, but you know, you would be buying those things anyway, but you are using them for your business also. So your postage, all those different types of things. And then the only other thing that is really important that you keep track, it would be your miles. I do like Mile Catcher. I think it does work pretty good. Sometimes it gets stuck, but that way you can track your personal and business miles.
I downloaded an app for that, so I'm still trying to figure that one out because I was looking at all those.
Yeah, which one did you download?
Oh, let me look real quick. My Car Tracks.
My Car Tracks, was that a free one?
Yes.
Okay, I've not tried that one. I do Mile Catcher. It's all one word. And that one, you might need one with more details than that, though, because you're tracking two different set of miles.
Right.
But if you do your Mile Catcher or Mile Tracker, whatever you're doing, then just at the, write down, like, I don't know, you probably do less daycare mileage.
As of right now, I don't do daycare, right, because I don't have any school agers.
Okay, so just when you do daycare mileage, just write that down. So, and then subtract it off your mile. So I don't know if you can send monthly reports. Like mine, I can email me a monthly report.
I think this one I can, because I watched the videos before I actually downloaded to see what it can do. And if I remember correctly, I can group it for this business to this business to this business.
Okay, good. Then that's a better one for you, because you're going to want those. And it doesn't. Honestly, it's not going to matter probably which business. Well, it probably will, depending on which business is making the amount of money. So yeah, just keep those separate, because then that's going to come off each of those businesses. So you want to make sure that you have your odometer reading written down from the first of the year. If you don't have that written down, kind of go back and figure out what your odometer reading would be. And then you want to make sure you take that at the end of the year too, and then your mileage, because mileage is a big deduction. Okay. So that's really, in a nutshell, how you're going to manage your money. Your receipts, they give you so many copies of those receipts. You still can give your customer one. You can still staple one onto your profile, and you can still put one in your money in envelopes. So you should have enough for all of those. Okay? Okay, any questions, Erica?
No.
Okay. And really, when you manage your emotions and you manage your business, your money, you can't fail.
Right.
And your activity. That's why I want that IPA sheet, because sometimes we think we're working when we're not really working. And I think that IPA sheet is crucial to us, because then it keeps us accountable to ourselves. Like, oh, I am actually doing, I'm not thinking my business, but I'm doing my business.
Right.
Sometimes we can think our business more than we do it.
Or we do it so much that it just does it itself.
Okay, well, Erica, thanks for being on this morning. And I will post this for new consultants, and so then we can send it out. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.